If you've ever found yourself alone in the middle of a bamboo grove, you know how mesmerizing it can be. Endless green stalks rising from the ground, swaying gently in the breeze, creating a tunnel of tranquility. But what if those stalks had eyes? What if they were watching your every move? Imagine if you accidentally broke one of these innocent-looking plants, and upon doing so, disturbed whatever was hiding in its shadows. This story is proof that sometimes nature's secrets are best left buried. It was just before sunrise when we reached the edge of the bamboo grove. The air felt heavy, as if something was holding it still. Not a single bird called the dew on the ground seemed untouched, like no animal had dared to pass through the night. I took one step forward, but the rescue team leader raised his hand sharply, his eyes fixed on the shadows between the stalks. "Not here," he whispered. "We don't go in there." At first, I thought it was superstition, local fear mixed with old stories. But then I noticed the way the bamboo swayed, not in the rhythm of the wind, which wasn't even present, but in slow, deliberate pulses, as if something inside was brushing past them. The sound wasn't quite rustling. It was closer to breathing. We were there to find a missing tracker, a man experienced enough to move through the jungle blindfolded. He had vanished 2 nights ago. His last radio call was short. "I'm close. It's in the grove." And then silence. I knew the tracker well. He wasn't the type to get lost, to make a wrong turn, or to run out of battery without good reason. He was our best jungle guide, and something had spooked him enough to cut his search short. The leader explained in a low voice that this grove had a history. People who went in didn't always come back. Those who did, they didn't speak about what they saw. I wanted to press forward, to see for myself, but every instinct screamed against it. The bamboo wasn't just standing still. It seemed to be listening. Then came the sounds again, soft at first, then louder, distinct, the scrape of bark against bark, slow and deliberate. Something was moving inside the grove, and it was big. Our tracker was a large man, over 6 feet tall, strong enough to fell a small tree. But these sounds weren't like anything I'd heard in the forest. They were too regular, too heavy. Suddenly, something clicked deep inside, like 2 pieces of wood striking together. The sound echoed unnaturally, traveling in a circle around us. It felt like the jungle itself was breathing, and in that moment, I knew we weren't alone. Whatever was in there wasn't hiding anymore. It was close. Then, without warning, a section of the grove tilted. Not fell, not broke, just leaned toward us, as though the stalks themselves were alive. The shadows inside seemed thicker than they should have been, like light was afraid to enter. Before any of us could react, the stalks snapped back upright. In the split second they'd been bent. I saw it, a flash of movement in the darkest part of the grove, where the tallest, thickest stalks grew closest together. I couldn't tell what it was, but I knew it was big. Then the breathing stopped, the scraping stopped. Only the wind moved through the trees. One of the younger rescuers stepped forward, flashlight in hand. He barely crossed the grove's invisible boundary before his light went out. Not dimmed, went out, dead. The leader grabbed him and yanked him back so fast the man fell to the ground. His face was pale, his hands shaking. It wasn't dark in there, he stammered. It was black, like something was swallowing the light. I felt a chill crawl up my spine, but there was a new sound now, a whimpering coming from the young rescuer. He wasn't hurt, at least not physically. It was clear from his eyes that whatever he'd seen, it had shaken him to the core. But that wasn't the only sound. There was another, much closer. A twig snapped. We all froze, our eyes darting from shadow to shadow. Then we saw it, a single bamboo stalk lying on the ground, broken clean through. It hadn't been there before. It couldn't have been. The grove was ancient, these stalks years old. It was as though the earth itself had caved in. The team leader wasted no time. He put a hand on my shoulder, the signal for movement. We backed away slowly, keeping our eyes on the grove, on the shadows that seemed to writhe just beyond our sight. He mouthed 2 words, "Stay close." To me, I could hear the tracker's voice on the radio, his last transmission echoing in my head. "It's in the grove." What was in the grove? I had no idea, but as we turned and ran, I knew I didn't want to find out. We made the decision right there. We weren't going in, not because of fear, though fear was there, but because the grove itself seemed to want us inside. It felt like walking into a mouth that was waiting to close. We marked the location, set up a perimeter, and waited for dawn to burn away some of the shadows. But even when the sun was high, the inside of that grove stayed dim. When the light finally reached it, it did not illuminate. It glinted off something wet, something that seemed out of place amongst the dry stalks. We found the tracker's knife on the ground, glinting innocently in the morning sun. Then we found his boot prints, scuffed and muddy, leading to the edge of the grove, and then stopping. There was no sign of a struggle, no indication of where he might have gone. The lead tracker, the man who could navigate the jungle without a compass or a map, had vanished without a trace. Some mysteries aren't solved by force. Sometimes survival is knowing when to turn back. That day, the rescue became a retreat and the grove kept its secret. But the questions remained. What was in that grove? What had scared off the tracker? And why did the light seem so afraid to touch the inside of it? These questions have no easy answers. The jungle is vast, ancient, and filled with things that defy explanation. This story isn't just about a missing person or a haunted grove. It's about the unknown, the part of the world that we can't explain, and the respect that maybe we should. Sometimes in this world, the scariest monsters are the ones that hide in plain sight, camouflaged by the ordinary until curiosity gets the better of us. The bamboo grove was a place of tranquility until it wasn't. It was a place of mystery until it revealed itself. And in that revelation, it showed us that some things are best left undisturbed. As I write this, I can almost hear the whispers of the wind through the bamboo, a sound that's now both soothing and eerie. I hope this story finds you well, wherever you are, safe from the shadows of the bamboo. But remember, sometimes the most terrifying monsters lurk where you least expect, behind the facade of everyday life. Now, if you want to hear more tales of the unexpected, stay tuned to this channel. We bring you stories that blend reality with the fantastical, leaving you to decide what's real and what's imagined. Because in the end, isn't that what makes these stories so compelling? The uncertainty, the blurring of lines, the chilling possibility that just beyond our perception, there exists a world we can't comprehend, a world where bamboo stalks breathe and darkness swallows light. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay curious, and above all, stay safe from the shadows. That night, sleeping under the open sky, the fire sputtered and died, leaving us in darkness, surrounded by the whispers of the jungle. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sounded like footsteps, every hoot of an owl, a cackle of laughter. But there was something else, too, a low, steady breathing. Like someone or something was watching us, waiting for us to drift off to sleep. I tightened my grip on my machete, its familiar weight a small comfort in the vast darkness. Beside me, the others stirred restlessly. No one spoke, but everyone was listening. Then came the whisper, soft at first, then growing louder, circling us like a predator testing its prey. "Run," it hissed, the voice a sibilant hiss. "Run while you can. There's nothing for you here. Run." Fear, raw and primal, surged through me. Adrenaline jolted me upright. "What was that?" I whispered urgently, my voice cracking in the stillness. But my companions were already moving, disappearing into the black jungle. I didn't need to be told twice. I didn't stop running until my lungs burned and my legs screamed for mercy. But even then, I didn't dare look back. In the safety of daylight, we found the footprints, large and deep, like the mark of some prehistoric beast. We never found the creature, but the memory of its voice still echoes in my nightmares. Run while you can. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest horrors aren't things, they're voices, whispers that slither into our minds, urging us to flee, to escape, to outrun the darkness. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is turn and face the monster in the shadows, because running never truly lets you escape.